All right, guys, thanks for tuning in again. Welcome back to Reality Unplugged. Let's go right into it. I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time. I really want to address something. I've been thinking about this. If anything we've learned in the past year, it's that mainstream media has gotten very good at indoctrination. If they're focusing on a story and they're pushing it, and every other story you see is about the same subject, they're trying to focus the public's attention to get them to think a certain way. You have to understand that every headline is poured over and it's got people looking at it to try to get it to convey a certain message. And I don't know if you've looked, but every other story you see popping up right now is about another invader of the Capitol being caught and sentenced and all of the bad things that they've done. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Not everybody who went into the Capitol on January 6th was a good person, all right? Not everybody who went there had good intentions. But when the media focuses on something so much, you need to be wary because they're trying to control the way that you think. Now, in a tyrannical government, all through history, the number one thing you do is take a hero or a leader and make them look bad. If you can get some dirt on them, if you can make them look like there was something they did wrong, if you can tarnish the person's reputation, you can tarnish everything they did. Now, let me be the first to admit to you that there are black marks in my past, okay? And you could take something that I've done and make everything I've done since then a bad thing. And the reason you would do that is if you had an agenda that what I was currently doing was hurting. Some of these people weren't good. Some of these people aren't good. Some of these people need to go to jail for completely other reasons. But here's the deal. The fact that the media wants you to believe that they're criminals so badly lets you know how much they're trying to influence the way that you think. They want everything that is being done to be seen as bad. Now, I've been told by certain people, and the argument's been made, that it is against the law to enter a restricted federal building, that it's a felony. I get that. But annotation 13 of the First Amendment of our Constitution not only gives us the right, but the responsibility and the duty to overthrow a government which has become tyrannical or has impeded the rights or the liberties stated in our Constitution. Now, if the election was rigged, if your freedom to vote and elect your representatives was impeded upon, as a lot of us believe that it was, and we have seen the evidence and we have heard the arguments and the evidence, we not only have a right to overthrow the government, but we have a duty. And as much as any lawyer would love to sit and argue with you about it, the constitutional rights will overpower and exceed a law, because we govern our entire country and our laws based off of the Constitution. Our forefathers knew that there would come a time when people were given so much power to decide what people could and couldn't do, that absolute power would corrupt absolutely. You would have people who would have agendas, things that they wanted, and they were willing to break the rules to get. And they said the people had the right to remove said government. I'm not for the violence. I'm really not. I hate the people. I hate the fact that people have died. I hate that they've gotten hurt. I don't think they should have got hurt on either side. But at the same time, when George Washington led his troops to war, they didn't hate their enemy, but they had to obtain freedom. So whatever your thoughts are, whatever your morals are, whatever your philosophy, if you're going to have a country ruled by this Constitution, constitutionally, let freedom fighters go. If you want to convict them on some other wrong that they've done, then convict them on that. But if you're just going to take down people fighting for their voices to be heard, you are a tyrannical dictator. You are a megalomaniacal maniac that thinks you know better than the people you rule. Now, let's have a history review, America. What has happened to every tyrannical dictator that thought they knew better than the people they ruled and tried to silence them and rule them through fear and violence? It makes me angry to hear these people talked about that way. I watched the video. I watched Ashley Babbitt bleed out on the Capitol floor. I hope those stains don't come out. I hope every time they walk past, they have to look down and say, that's where we killed someone fighting for their rights. That's where we killed somebody who was tired of not being listened to. When it came down to us talking about the vote and talking about the things that we felt were being impeded upon, we were told to be silent because we didn't want to cause a ruckus. You don't want to go against the grain. When it was supposed to come before the Supreme Court realized that if they listened to a case about legislature being passed without going through the correct channels, they would have to rule in favor of the people who are going to overthrow the vote. And they didn't want to do it because it would cause a disturbance. They were scared. Ashley Babbitt died because she was tired of being ignored her constitutional rights. Make her a hero. Get it on everything you can get. I'm telling you what, please do me a favor. Everybody listening, there's 113 subscribers on here. And I'm so thankful for what you've done in subscribing and listening. If you do nothing else, open up a YouTube account and start ranting. Not because of any other reason than the fact that make them unable to ignore us anymore. If they've got to shut YouTube down because they can't weed out everybody who is talking about their free speech and their rights, then maybe we would have done something to stop this agenda for just a little bit and make them realize that we will be heard. If you're out there and you had cruel intentions in your heart to go into the Capitol, I condemn your efforts. But if you're one of the people who is tired of Americans not being heard and given their rights anymore, I hope that the truth comes out and they can't hold you wherever they put you. Guys, thanks for listening to Reality Unplugged. I hope you tune in again. Do me a favor, if you've not done it, punch that like button, punch that subscribe button, leave me a comment. Let's get into a debate here. Let's get into a conversation. Let's start some talking and start some conversation points that will move America forward. Thanks again for watching. Do me a favor, if you know anybody else who's holding up a channel trying to talk about your rights, trying to talk about the things that are going on, subscribe to them, like them, give them some support. Let's overrun this thing, all right? This is the way.